Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your boy, the SeanDavieWay Show. Please hit that like and subscribe on the way in. Tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you a video on Unwind with Tasha K, Funky Dineva, and the Fox Soul TGI Friday host. Many people have been wondering how Tasha K got into this situation at all, and I want to start by stating that Tasha K is a content creator, so she gets to speak on whatever she wants. Everybody that is on the Fox Soul crew, Tasha K has some type of involvement with. She has a past with Claudia, she has a past with Al, she has a past with Armon. Now, I'm not stating that any of those past relationships were friendly or friendships or anything like that. No, not at all. Just saying that they have all been involved with each other in the past, including Funky Dineva, who is no longer part of the Fox Soul crew. After Tasha gave her commentary on how she felt about the situation that's going on with Fox Soul and the roast that was done on Al Reynolds, Funky Dineva took the clip and put it on his IG and responded to Tasha K when she was speaking on the wages that the crew was making, etc. Tasha K was only speaking on the wages and what people were making as hosts for Fox Soul because she allegedly got said information from Claudia Jordan when they hung out in Texas and had drinks and food together. With the show allegedly breaking up or going on a hiatus or whatever is going on, Tasha decided to give her 2 cents on the situation. So why wouldn't she? She has inside information. This is what Tasha K does. I don't see why anyone is really surprised by what Tasha K did because I don't think she did anything wrong. I mean, everybody else is speaking on this. Why doesn't she? I spoke to Claudia Jordan and Claudia does seem disappointed by Tasha's recent commentary. But the thing about that is, I don't get it because Claudia Jordan does the same thing for a living. So it's kind of confusing that Claudia kind of feels like either backstabbed or betrayed by Tasha when it's her job. This is what she has to do for a living. And again, it's no different than with Claudia. If she had to say something about Tasha because Tasha had this huge situation going on, I don't think people would be angry at Claudia. And I also don't feel like Tasha K will feel betrayed by Claudia because it's Claudia's job. Well, again, for the ones that are wondering why Tasha K is involved in the situation, she's not involved. In my opinion, I think that she just has a bigger voice, a bigger platform. So when she speaks, a lot more people listen. And again, she's just giving commentary on what's going on with the inside tea that she has. So again, she just gave commentary. She's not literally involving herself, like going over to Fox Soul and talking to the producers and all of that stuff. No, she's just simply giving commentary on it. So let's get into Funky Dineva posting the segment of Tasha K's show, giving commentary on the situation that's going on with Fox Soul. He does stop and correct her in between times, so I do want you to pay attention to that too, because he does play a decent amount of her commentary and he does not interrupt her. And that gives me that he agrees with what Tasha is saying, because when he doesn't agree with her, he stops her mid-track and corrects her. But pay attention to what Dineva does not correct. Let's go.
They didn't renew his contract, okay? He was getting paid a hefty salary, $250,000 plus a year. Claudia makes about $300, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm telling the business. Okay, Al makes about $150. And, it goes by popularity and the value that you bring to the show, right? And I've always had my reservations about Fox Soul and...
It did not go by popularity. Everybody made the same exact salary, $1,000 an episode, $250,000 per year. And I, for the umpteenth time, was not let go. I opted to not renew my contract after it expired on December 22nd.
Side note, so as you see, Funky Dineva does stop Tasha K when he feels that she is incorrect and is not stating the actual facts behind the situation of the Fox Soul contracts. Funky Dineva had a 6-month contract, he states, and that Claudia Jordan and Al had 12-month contracts. So when it was time to sit down, he was doing his negotiations 6 months before Claudia and Al Reynolds. When it came to money, of course, when you're renegotiating, you're going to try to make more. He brought that up and the network stated allegedly, that they didn't have the income sources that he was requesting to make his funds or his wage or his contract payment more. With that being said, Funky Dineva felt like, hey, I can make this money on my own instead of splitting it with the network and two other people, doing my own show on YouTube, and decided to walk away from signing a new contract. And that is why they have a new replacement or a new host, because Funky Dineva decided, I don't want to split any of my money. I can do this on my own. Basically, I appreciate what you guys brought forward, but I know my value, and my value is higher than what you guys are offering me here in this contract. Again, Funky Dineva is stating that he was not pushed from his role as host. He was not fired or let go or anything like that. It was just, again, when you are signing a contract, that is what gets you the job. If you don't sign the contract, then that means you no longer want it. So if anything, Funky Dineva is stating he walked away from his job at Fox Soul. Pay attention that he does stop and correct her when he feels that she is incorrect.
Phenomenal at what he does, and he drove that show. We had several conversations on the phone behind the scenes about him asking for more money, okay, behind Al and Claudia's back, because he felt like he drove the show. And so during negotiations, the math wasn't math. Then they said, we can't afford to give you more money, so we're going to have to end your contract and find somewhere else.
Theory, there's no behind anybody's back. Carry on.
Side note, so there you have it. Again, you see that Funky Dineva stops Tasha K when he feels that Tasha K is not being accurate in the information that she is bringing forward. Tasha K states that she had multiple conversations with Funky Dineva on the phone about how he was requesting more money from Fox Soul because, again, he did carry the show. And that's Tasha's opinion and Funky Dineva's opinion. I'm just saying what was just said. And because I feel like everybody carries the show, I really don't feel that one person does it, because if so, that person would be an individual. If Funky Dineva truly carried that show on Fox Soul, when the contracts for negotiations came up, why did Funky Dineva not get his own show? Why did they not pitch for him to do something for Dish Nation or something like that? So clearly he couldn't have been that big of an asset to Fox Soul if they didn't do everything in their power to keep him. And point in case, when there is a show like The Family Matters or The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when you have a star, you want to keep that star happy. You don't do anything to make them not want to show up to work. If you don't have the money to pay them more, if they're requesting it, you will find it to make sure that they stay so that your show stays successful. There have been producers and directors that will pull from their own budget to pay actors and talent more money because of the value that they bring to the table. So again, if Funky Dineva was so essential, then why did they not give him at least his own show and just bring another person in that was okay with the salary that they were offering Funky Dineva, which again, that salary is going to change again because Funky Dineva had been on the show for quite some time. So he had a blueprint there on the show, which gave him part of his value. So to bring in somebody else like Armon or anyone else, they're not going to make the same amount of money that he was making due to experience and being on the show prior. So it's weird that Funky Dineva is trying to make it seem as if he was not requesting more money, because you obviously were, because you walked away. If the contracts were just, if your contract made sense to you, then you would have stayed. But you're saying that it didn't. You're saying that they were offering you less than what you were making before because they cut the shows. It went from this amount of shows a week to it went to this amount and whatnot. So, and Funky says that there was no bad blood, that he loves everybody over at Fox Soul, you know, and all that good stuff. If that is true, then why didn't you stay? There had to be some other discrepancies to make you leave. And I do think money definitely played the bigger factor in why Funky Dineva decided to walk away. So Tasha K and Funky Dineva, to me, they are both right. Tasha saying that Funky was requesting more money, and Funky saying that he wasn't doing anything behind anybody's back, basically. Like, I wasn't going to them and Claudia and Al were unaware of this happening. It's like, no, they knew because I had a 6-month contract. So I'm going to sit down in negotiations before they do 6 months prior. So I wasn't going behind anybody's back. I was just doing what the job indicates, which is every 6 months we sit down and figure out where the contract and the income is going to go from here. But if you're sitting down in set meeting, Funky Dineva, and you are trying to get more money, then how is Tasha not telling the truth besides saying that you were trying to get more than Claudia or Al because you ran the show? The show was based off of you. In my opinion, I do believe what Tasha is saying. I think that Funky Dineva did want to make either as much money as Claudia and Al or more because he feels like he is doing more. Case in point, Al and Claudia are still on the show. Funky Dineva is not because he said that he can make that money on his own and that he wouldn't have to share it with anyone. So that's saying too that your value is more than theirs, that you are the star. You ran the show. You ran it so much that you don't even need it. You ran it so much that you could just go back over to your own platform and be bigger and better. So again, how is Tasha not telling the truth? I don't understand that.
Claudia had dinner, I was just like, listen, I think it should be him. Her comment to me, and I agreed, because I've had my own issues with certain black gay men, not all, mainly the F's. Can't say that word over here. I'll definitely say it on TashaKLive.com. It gets too messy.
Side note, Tasha K states how she had a dinner with Claudia Jordan. And while they were there, Claudia Jordan stated how she was having issues with Al and she was having issues with Funky Dineva. Also stated that she was allegedly tired of working with F words. And I did speak to Claudia about that. Claudia said that she never said anything about an F word or anything like that. She said she does not talk that way. She said she did say innas, and whatnot, but the F-bomb was never dropped from her mouth. That is between Claudia and Tasha K. That has nothing to do with me. I was not there, so I can't state what was said and what was not said. But I will say this. Tasha K has used the F-bomb before and she will definitely use it again. So not that I respect somebody saying the F-bomb, but I can respect somebody being honest. So I do respect her honesty with it. I don't agree with her using the term or word or anything like that, but I can respect somebody saying, yeah, I said that, versus somebody that really did say it and won't cop to it because they don't want a certain image on them publicly, but behind the scenes, they are willing to use that type of language and whatnot. Another thing about the F-bomb and Claudia Jordan allegedly not wanting to work with, gay men and things like that. I'm not going to knock anybody that is heterosexual and does not mind gay people or working with them, but also likes to work with heterosexual people too. It is a different energy. If you look at the panel now with Al, Armon, and Claudia, everybody on the panel is messy. Everybody on the show is messy. Hell, I'm messy. So it does make it a little harder to have a genuine teamwork building relationship with your co-host if everybody is messy, and everybody is. So to add a heterosexual energy in there, heterosexual people are messy as well. I mean, look at Claudia Jordan. But I do think it is a different energy when you have someone that can keep their mouth shut. So again, like I said before, I'm not knocking what Armon did or anything like that, but I'm not a back and forth type of girl. If Claudia comes and tells me something, it's going to stay there. If Al comes and tells me something, it's going to stay there. I'm not going for fighting anybody's battles because I feel that one is higher up than the other. So let me link with this person. No, it's just going to cause a bunch of chaos and confusion, which is what is going on right now. It's too much going on because everybody is messy. Al is messy for calling Funky Dineva. Funky Dineva is messy for answering that call on live. Armon was messy for doing the roast. Claudia Jordan was messy for agreeing with the roast and allegedly feeding Armon a lot of that information that he had said. So yeah, everyone's messy. So I am not knocking Claudia for wanting to work with somebody heterosexual because it is a dynamic change. It is an energy change. You got Funky, when he was on the panel, he was just as messy as everybody else that was on it, Al and Claudia. But there is a common denominator, and at this point in time, it is definitely Claudia and Al. They are the common denominators. Anybody else is just kind of thrown in the middle of the war, the silent war that those two have going on. And to end this part of it, to move on to the next part of this video, Claudia Jordan did reach out to me when the co-host positions were available for the people that were just kind of revolving panel type of situation of co-host before they chose a permanent. She did reach out to me and asked me to be a part of it, or if I wanted to be a part of it. So Tasha's saying that she said that she don't want to work with no more F-bombs. This was when Funky Dineva was still on the show. So this was before the whole him parting ways and all of that. And Claudia reached out to me after when Funky had left. So again, I would have to agree with Claudia when she says that she loves the LGBTQ community and she does not mind working with them. And she wanted to do a show to give gay men a safe space, or gay people, I should say, a safe space.
And so she was already irritated with Funky because they were going back and forth. And then she was irritated with Al. And she's like, I really don't want no more gay boys. I'm just done. I really want a heterosexual person. Down. Now, here's what has been going on. Claudia don't like Al. She personally told me. Claudia don't like Funky. She was tired of working with gay boys, specifically Fs. Per me. That ain't no allegedly on that. We had dinner. We talked about it. The same night when she told me she was friends with Jay-Z's alleged ex. That ain't here no more. She X'd off, okay? And quickly got him.
Again, I already spoke on that, so we're going to keep moving in the video. Tasha and Claudia had this conversation allegedly face-to-face. So that is between these two women. I already told you how I felt. Moving right along.
So what's happening is Claudia is very messy. Claudia talks about everybody. This is why Funky got energy for her. This is why Al called Funky Dineva doing this. Play the video of him calling Funky. Let's go.
Hold on before you talk.
No,
Hold on, I'm on live.
You need to hear this on live.
Hold on, people can hear you.
I do believe Tasha when she says that Claudia Jordan spoke to her and that she was having issues with Al and that she was having issues with Funky Dineva. Now, if you pay attention to the live that I posted of Claudia Jordan on IG stating that her and Al Reynolds are not friends, I can gather she's been feeling that way for quite some time. So sitting down with Tasha K and having set conversations and Al name comes up and Funky Dineva name comes up, I think that there was friction, and because it still exists to this day. Even in that live, Claudia Jordan states that she thinks Funky Dineva is hilarious and that she basically doesn't have a problem with him. But Funky doesn't really give that energy when it comes to Claudia. And Claudia, again, her energy towards Funky Dineva, it seems more so of keeping it professional. Like, I'm not trying to start a war or beef with this man. You know, he used to work here, he'll work here no more. You go on about your business. And I think that Funky Dineva still has some resentment towards her. Case in point, Al Reynolds calling Funky Dineva when he was saying, you know, go watch the video, you let me know, tell me if I don't have a reason. I do think that energy was aimed towards Claudia Jordan. I don't feel that it was aimed towards Armon within that point. I think that Al was more so of approaching the situation as Armon being an attack dog for Claudia. So that energy of him calling Funky is because Funky still has an issue with Claudia. Funky cannot convince me that he likes Claudia Jordan. And for whatever reasons he feels that he does not like her, he's entitled to. Again, he knows her personally. They had a working and / personal relationship with one another, and not all relationships work out. So I think that was Al calling him on that as well as an attack dog himself, you know, like Armon is allegedly Claudia's. You can be mine now. You know, you can go after Claudia, or you can say how you want to feel about Claudia. You're on your own platform. You're not on Fox Soul. So you can actually get her, you know, for me because you feel about her how I feel. I do think that. So again, yeah.
Because here's what happened. Claudia spends a lot of time on the phone kikiing with folks that she don't really know. Okay. And Armon is an easy target. You tell him something, he's going to take it in because he's an energy absorber, right? Okay? He going to take it in and he's thinking he's going to fix the problem, but instead he don't even know when he being used. He doesn't
Side
know.
note, I have to disagree with that. I do not feel like Armon was being used. Now, I get people are thinking like, oh, well, all of that information, which I agree with this as well, all of the information that Armon was stating, he has not been there to know these things about Al. It does feel that he was speaking from somebody else's experience and not his own. So through part of the roast, you could tell that he was definitely taking shots at what he experienced with Al. And then there's some things that he said that is like, well, you just got here. So how do you even know these things to aim it as a shot, as an experience? How do you like know this stuff? Clearly it was through Claudia. So I don't believe Armon was ever trying to work the situation out with Al and Claudia when neither one of them like each other. If Armon sits with Claudia and Claudia states how she does not care for Al, and he sits with Al and Al states the same way about Claudia, how is there any way of mending it when they both don't like each other? They could do that on their own. Claudia's extremely grown and so is Al. If they don't want to sit down as two individuals and have a conversation and try to work it out so that they could have a cohesive work environment, then that is on them. And I think that they probably have tried it before. I don't think they, never tried to iron out their issues. I think they did, but when you do that, sometimes more issues occur, more things occur. So you'll get over one thing and apologize for it, and then it's like, boom, here goes more things, because again, you're still involved with that person. Apologizing to somebody that you did something to that you're not really involved with, you don't really have to worry about a reoccurring mistake or offending them in other ways because you don't really see or involve yourself with them. But working with somebody, it's a high probability that these things are going to keep happening because we can forgive, but we don't forget, right? So I do not believe that Claudia was using Armon. I think Armon used the information that Claudia gave him in their own private time of talking to use against Al. I think all of this pressure and energy and stress and kind of victim mentality, if you will, coming from Al is because he did not expect that from Armon. Armon and Al have clearly had problems before. They have been on IG before and had conversations. You could tell it was kind of like a mending of fence, at that point in time.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I've been busting out this content and I'm getting ready for this show. I'm ready. I'm excited about these topics. I'm just a little bit tired. How are you? I know you just got back in town.
Coming back from the East Coast. Yeah, I was teaching last week, and then I went to New York. Did Fox 5 DC. Trying to spread the word about TGI up and who's going to get that seat.
Okay, I love this green screen. It's so much better than mine. Yours is like clean in the back.
Have that pull-up one.
Oh, okay. So let's chat about it. Okay, so a lot of people were like tearing you up in the comments, and I want you guys to know, like, me and Al are good. Like, we're not beefing. It's like we're creating like a great show for the people. You know what I mean? Like, we want to keep it interesting. We want to keep it entertaining. So we wanted to make sure that we let you guys know, like, we don't have any smoke, guys.
Cool, yeah. And then also, I just want the people to know that Armon, we talked about this. We went live before. I really support you. I like your electricity. I love your wit. And, even though your opinion is different than mine, I like it. I like it. You're younger. Your fingers on the pulse. Your ears on the street. I'm much older. So the only thing I didn't like is that they felt like I was disrespecting you. And, we can all have our opinions, but we don't have the right to disrespect it.
Well, I think while the roast was happening right before it, that Al thought he and Armon were fine, that they were, good. And when Armon did it and said the things that he said, it was such a personal attack that Al realized in that moment that he and Armon were no longer cool, that they're not cool. If anything, he team her, team Claudia, because everything you're saying, that's me and her. Like, that don't got nothing to do with you. So it does seem like Al was blindsided by the energy coming from Armon. I think that, and that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that I didn't talk to Al, I didn't talk to Armon, so I can't say, what is what, but I did see the IG Live, and it did seem like they were trying to build with one another, that there was certain things happening in the background, but they didn't want it to continue. So in the forefront, they wanted to let everybody know because they could see certain tensions between Armon and Al. People stating that Al was cutting Armon off at points of speaking and things like that on the show and really not taking Armon seriously. So yeah, people saw that energy, and I think that they acknowledged it for those purposes to be professional and keep the show going. So yeah, I don't think that Armon was used. I think he just, it was overtime hearing information from both sides, and at the end of the day, when it was time to go there, he went there. That's just how I look at it. But let's keep going.
They're getting paid close to or over $500,000 to host a show that's barely bringing in 60,000 views. That is why they had to implement a fourth guest host, because he's not strong enough. Nobody was stronger than Dineva. But then you want Claudia to pillow talk in your ear about everything that's going on, and you ain't even been on the job before a year. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And furthermore, while you're listening to Claudia, because she's friends and she likes to brag with the president of Fox, and he loves the show, he loves me, right? I get to bring as many shows as I want. We're getting syndicated, only for the show to decline.
Side note, I would have to agree with Tasha, and I base it on analytics. During the time of Funky Dineva being on the show, the ratings were a lot higher. They did get a lot more views than they are getting right now. And again, it's a revamp. They had a lot of revolving hosts and whatnot before they got their permanent, which is Armon. So, I mean, it could definitely be due to that as well, it being changed up. When people don't like change, they like what they like. They like what they see. When you sell a product, it's just is what it is. The group TLC and other groups, you saw T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili. So that's who you always wanted to see. If they did replace, her, it just wouldn't work. And they have tried many times to replace Left Eye in the group, and it never works out. So because the people aren't here for it, the sales go down and with tickets and all of that stuff. So again, it could just simply be because it's change, or it could be because Funky Dineva was very essential to the show. But again, I would have to agree. Let's keep going.
TGIF tonight and call me back.
All right, bye.
That was a lot of information that Armon had in such a short time, which means somebody's been talking to him. The only person that talks too much is Claudia. I know. The first encounter with me, you run your mouth like liquid to me? You didn't say off the record? Me. We're talking about me here. We're not friends. We're colleagues. You talk about me on your show, I'm going to talk about you on my show. That's the dynamic of the relationship. We're not friends, right? You can take the comments down for a second. But here's where I have the problem with Armon. That was an amazing read, but it was very mean-spirited. It didn't come from a happy place. It didn't even come from a genuine place. It came from a place that sounds like you were fueled, and you're blaming Al for getting a talk show canceled when he's the one that helped to build the job that you have. You wouldn't even be able to sit there if it wasn't for Al. Al comes from TV. Despite Al having favoritism with management, he understands how to network within the television industry. Now, what you just showed as a very, very young personality to somebody that has favoritism is that you are sabotaging the show. Not only are you sabotaging the show, you're not strong enough to carry the show like Funky, and that's why they had to bring in a Lunel and a T.S. Madison, because you're refusing to do your homework. You're very great with the tongue, very slick. You can read a bitch down, right? But television is not looking for that. They're looking for people that are well vast in a vast area of topics, and they're able to appeal to a certain type of audience that understands, okay, intellectual conversations. But for you to do that, I'm like, you haven't gotten any opportunities on the red carpet yet. They haven't asked you to host Dish Nation. She hasn't even introduced you to the president that she says loves her so much. But she fueled you to go in on Al because she was too bitch to do it herself. Right? Just like when she was talking shit about Funky, she was too scared to do it herself. She used you as the pawn, and because you're emotional and erratic and easy to manipulate, you went in talking about things you knew nothing about because you ain't been there long enough. And if you really got your eyes open, you will see that they're trying to replace you right before your eyes. Not Al, you.
Wow, Tasha said a lot. And again, I am not going to give any commentary on that because one, we talked about a lot of this already. And two, Funky Dineva is playing this live of Tasha's, this segment of Tasha's show on his IG. Again, at the beginning of this video, I told you, realize that Funky Dineva cuts Tasha K off anytime he feels that she is incorrect. When Tasha just said all of this stuff about Armon, Funky Dineva has sworn that he's been so happy for Armon, congratulated him, felt that if anybody was going to go over there and do that, nobody better than him. Why did he not cut Tasha off when Tasha was saying that Funky Dineva was the front runner? He ran that show. You can't run the show on your own, Armon. Why did he not cut her off? No, don't pay attention to what I'm going to say. Again, I'm not playing this. Funky Dineva was playing this on his Instagram. Okay? And he would stop and correct Tasha when he felt that she was, not telling the full truth or exaggerating something. Yeah. But he didn't cut her off at all while she said all this stuff about Claudia not liking Funky and talking stuff about... He never cut her off. Not one point in time did Funky cut Tasha off when she threw all of this shade and was saying these things about him being, the king of Fox Soul, TGIF. It hasn't been the same since Funky left the game. He never cut her off. So yeah, who cares about what I think? Y'all go ask Funky Dineva what Funky Dineva thinks. Thank you so much, Tasha K, for letting me use this footage. I love you all. We will be back later with another video and a live. I hope you all enjoy. Please hit the like. Please subscribe if you have not already. And until the next show, bye.